if you allow me to play devil's advocate for
Sure.
a moment, if we look at black people,
Yeah.
just as black people within a vacuum, why hasn't there been a bigger push to get, because I read something very interesting recently. It's a take, it's a view, but I think it lends itself to this discussion.
Sure.
We were talking about, the so-called Stellenbosch mafia. And basically the argument that was being made was, you know what, if you're gonna say that there's a Stellenbosch mafia, okay, cool, great. But at least your Stellenbosch mafia is helping.
Yes. Is actually pouring into the
Is
ecosystem.
actually pouring
Yeah.
into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And helping its people develop, startups build, right? And they're like, a lot of those Stellenbosch mafia people hardly know anything about AI, cloud, software as a service, fintech, but they're making money from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because they're supporting that ecosystem. And the critique was, in the black ecosystem, there are industrialists, there are business people, there are those that have made it.
Yeah.
Right? Why isn't there the equivalent of, to your earlier point, the Bryce, or any of these spaces where these types of things are happening? So I'm very keen to get your view there.
Yeah. No, it's a fair critique. I always think that, like, complaining from the outside, that's the cheap seat. Get in the ring and actually put your capital where your mouth is, right? So I mean, I do wonder as well. Like, of course, people are seeing about the successes, the exits, the likes of Ikoka exiting to Nedbank for 1.2 billion rand. The early investors, the people who backed those entrepreneurs before there was anything to show for it, have all been, generously and handsomely rewarded for that. So I believe that the black industrialists are reading these headlines, and they what I assume they should be taking out is that there is opportunity here in this space, but we're not seeing enough activity. I'm not going to paint them all with one brush.
Yeah, of course.
There are people who are doing the Lord's work undercover, writing these angel checks, the 50,000, 100,000 rand in some of the startups. And a lot of our members will attest to the fact that they've met incredible people like that. But by and large, I think, venture still remains a very risky endeavor. And for a lot of people who have just come into wealth for the first time, I think they're kind of entering into the phase in the arc where it's about wealth preservation. So they're looking for more traditional, less risky bets to preserve their wealth in. So I think that there's definitely a bit of privilege around the right to play when you've enjoyed wealth for a certain level, at a certain level for a certain duration of time. You now start to wonder, how do I diversify and actually take some of the riskier bets? So there's a fair element and concern around, I just got here, can I just stay here? But I think it's not an excuse, because at the end of the day, we are having to make up for lost time. And there are incredible black entrepreneurs. In fact, there's more black entrepreneurs in the country, even tech entrepreneurs, surprisingly, than there are white tech entrepreneurs. Right? The majority of the black ones, I think, are in our community now, but I could be wrong. They're there, and they're building. And the reality is that when they sit across the table from a white investor, there's a trust deficit there. And it's not even a conscious bias. It's a lot of times an unconscious bias. And I always tell even our entrepreneurs, when they, we're licking our wounds, feeling a bit, disappointed by what we're experiencing, I tell them that you have to remember that when a white investor sits across the table from a white entrepreneur, there's so much they have in common. Perhaps they went to the same school. They have the same family structure. When they see them, they see a younger version of themselves.
Yeah.
So for them to do that deal, there's a lot of things that have already been de-risked by virtue of a shared lived experience.
Yes.
So when they sit across the table from you and you come from a completely different environment, different value set, there are so many different risks that they're trying to validate in that conversation, right? So it's important to understand what is happening, what are the dynamics at play in that conversation, right? So to the black investor, you now have the responsibility of knowing that you need to be the person sitting on the other side of the table when these black entrepreneurs are pitching, because you have a shared lived experience, right? You know that, oh, by virtue of having gone to Orovelani high school, that's actually a good school, but it's a township school, you know? So I think those are the things that are lacking. And I think that's why, you know, as a black investor, you have to push and challenge yourself to participate, because otherwise those entrepreneurs are pitching to people who don't understand it.
Yes.
So it's not to excuse them entirely, but I'm a pragmatist. I'm always trying to think about it from the perspective of what is the investor thinking? And I think we need more founders thinking like investors. And we need more investors thinking like founders.